you bring your buyer on conference on
Okay.
WhatsApp. Yeah.
Okay.
Right
Okay.
now?
Let me invite him now.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay. Live video call conference. Mm-hmm. Good evening, sir. Your name is?
Good day to you. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, Dr. Anthony, are you online?
This is Wilhelmina.
Good afternoon. Okay, let me do the presentation and then you can talk.
Okay, go ahead.
I have online Dr. Anthony from London. He is the official mandate of the buyers. He has different buyers in Hong Kong and UK. And here you have Mrs. Wilhelmina for consult and mandate of the state of Guinea Conakry with full long experience in those settings. So you can start the talk, please. I'm just there following. Good day to you.
Anthony, good evening. Oh, you lost.
Good day to you.
Anthony, are you there?
Good day. Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Yeah, go ahead.
Good, excellent. Okay. I represent buyers in UK, Hong Kong, US, and other places, and we are interested in purchasing Dore from you.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, Anthony.
Good. We purchased large quantities, but the very first transaction must always be at the seller's expense, export taxes and shipping. The second transaction, we will provide bank instruments, direct payments against collateral. We will not do so for the first. We will not provide bank instruments or as payment guarantees for the first transaction.
And?
So my first question is, we are interested in large amounts and of course favorable discounts.
And?
Could you tell me, for example, what is your discount per kilo at the moment?
Our selling price is a spot
C.I.F.
price. Less 8%.
Less 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I am being offered better discounts elsewhere. Are we able to negotiate better discounts from you?
We can negotiate, but your buyer has to convince us. First of all, you already told me that your buyer would not pay any single cents and you want us to pay all the taxes. Thank you very much. We're not interested. Secondly,
that's fine.
Let me finish first because I was listening to you. Let me finish.
Please continue.
Number two, your buyer is buying money to make money. Gold is money. Then number three, the Central Bank of Conakry would not allow any foreigner to take the gold out of the country without the receipt of cash inflow, meaning the receipt of payment. So therefore, your buyer is not really acceptable. That is the reason why let me finish first because I was listening to you.
Please, I am listening.
That is the reason why your buyer have a difficulty getting the gold because we don't deal buyers like that. This is F.O.B. Bank-to-bank transaction, cash.
You want F.O.B. deal?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we are interested in F.O.B. deals because at that point we do not need to pay advances on tax and shipping. We would be there. At some stage, we will be interested in purchasing from you. The discount is, in our view, too low.
Okay. Let your buyer convince us. Tell your buyer to send a letter of intent to purchase coming from the buyer. We will review his intention. We will screen your buyer properly before we proceed the transaction. We don't ship the gold without any full payment before leaving the country. Yeah.
Good. These are perfectly understandable terms. In order for us to respond, we will have to see an F.C.O.
Our F.C.O. is online. I think your Mr. What you call this? His name is Mr. Love.
The written one, madam.
Sorry.
Is there anyone that is written, or is only the video that you share?
The Conakry Guinea I want you to listen, Anthony. The full corporate offer is on that video. Then when you listen to the video and read the full corporate offer, then come back to Wilhelmina.
Okay.
That's all I can do.
That's very clear. Thank you very much for your time.
All right,
I
and
already shared the video with Dr. Anthony anyway. He will listen to it and forward it to the buyers as well.
I already have.
okay.
Good. Okay. Thank you for your time.
You too, and I wish you good luck. And good luck and whatever you're looking for, we are here. But the policy of the Conakry is really very strict. Their terms and condition has to be followed. Yeah.
You haven't mentioned Brinks to Brinks.
Well, I called up the Brinks in Conakry. This is what that George. If you want to deal with Brinks, I called Brinks in Conakry. I asked George, the office manager. They have nothing to do with the buyer. When the buyer and the seller sign a contract, the Brinks will come to the office of my seller to inspect the gold. Then when he inspect the gold, this is what George was saying, then the buyer has to pay. And the buyer has to apply for the account to Brinks, which is 1,260 to keep the gold in their vault. So I was talking to George because I called the Brinks. George, what is your policy? Madam, the buyer and the seller has to sign a contract. And the seller has to provide us export documentation before we accept it. I said to George, that is normal. We don't bring the gold to Brinks. The buyer has to pay the gold because the gold will assay to central bank, which is correct. George was saying the gold has to assay in the bank, in the central bank, and then when the buyer happy, then the buyer transfer the payment to the seller's bank account to reflect called cash inflow. Without that, Brinks will not touch it. Without export documentation coming from the seller, as a report, attestation, ownership, custom clearance, etc., Brinks will not pick it up. Yeah. So you have to do your job if you are working with your buyer because I done my job. And George knows my seller. And I asked George, how many meters away from your office from Royal Column Hotel? It is only 800 meters away. And Royal Column Hotel is across the central bank. So you as a buyer's mandate, you have to do your job. Because my seller would not entertain you guys without contract. I myself will reject you because I am the marketing consultant of the seller. I'm the mandate of the seller. So I myself will reject you on the spot. I've been to Conakry. My transaction is successful. I don't have any problem at all. So you got me?
Very clear. Thank you.
Okay. Good luck and thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you to everyone for your time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Shortly, come back to us.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, madam.
All right. Thank you very much.
Hello?
Yes. Thank you very much.
You are two now. Please check the second request sent to you. Someone in Singapore who say his mandate is already in Guinea.
No.
They propose something. I want you to read first.
Well, if the mandate is no, Mr. Wako, if the mandate is in Guinea, why he cannot find the gold? I've been to Conakry before lockdown. You must remember, I interviewed a lot of buyers there. They wouldn't get the gold unless they follow the rules and regulations of the seller. Yeah, bring the buyer. I'm going to interview your buyer. You wouldn't get the gold any at all. I'm telling you. You will never.
Okay. Anyway, I will come back to you if anything.
Let your buyer's mandate understand. Ask the buyer's mandate how long he's been in Conakry. Because I was in Conakry before lockdown and I met a lot of buyers there stranded. And they didn't get the gold. Okay. The real seller would not...
I will come back to you after.
Alright. Before I close with you, the real seller would not deal buyers already on the ground. We must...
Okay, I will revert to you.
Alright.
Thank you.
Okay. Alright, don't waste the time. Thank you, bye. This buyer, see? The buyer is in Conakry. And he couldn't get the gold. Mr. Buyer, you are just wasting your time traveling without any preparation. You are just wasting your time to travel, and then you were asking for C.I.F. What happened? You failed. The real seller would not entertain you. Even myself, I would not entertain you at all. Because the procedure on Conakry Mineral Consulting is very clear. The procedure and the video is very clear. If you listen and if you digest it and click after the video, then I can guarantee you will get the gold. But if you are just floating around broker to broker, I don't think so you will get the gold. Especially if you come to Mrs. Ford, you will fail. Because we don't deal buyers with no invitation. We don't deal buyers that the buyer doesn't know how to introduce. I myself will interview you, Mr. Buyer. Now, I've spoken to middlemen, buyer's mandate, and I rejected them. Can you hear the conversation that I have with Anthony? He asked us to pay all the taxes, so we're not interested. You're buying money to make money. Why should we pay without knowing who you are? So you have to have a contract. You need to introduce yourself. Mr. Buyer, I know you've been floating around for ages. I feel sorry for you why you fail. We have the gold. You're buying money. This is precious item you're buying. Thank you very much and have a pleasant good evening. This is Wilhelmina Ford. Wilhelmina is a seller's mandate of Conakry Mineral Consulting Group of Company. You get the gold when you follow the terms and conditions of the company. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant good evening.